Life can be exquisitely ironic, can't it? There are those who inflict profound wounds, then seem to glide through existence untouched, as if their transgressions were but fleeting shadows. They dismiss the lies, the betrayals, the subtle manipulations, and walk away unburdened. Yet, believe me, life is a meticulous accountant. It settles debts in the quietest of chambers, where no one else observes, but where the wrongdoer feels every single day. Because while you are diligently mending your spirit in peace, karma is already orchestrating its intricate dance, and it possesses an unerring precision it never misses. This isn't an ode to vengeance, but rather an unveiling of a profound truth. A truth whose voice resonates more powerfully than any scream. It is the voice of silence itself. In this captivating journey, we will explore 5 subtle, yet undeniable, signs that someone is already experiencing the silent reverberations of their past actions towards you. This isn't a public trial, nor a theatrical spectacle, but a profound unveiling of truths unfolding within their own lives, their very minds, and in those quiet, solitary moments no one else witnesses. Join us on the Chill Stoic as we delve into the silent yet immensely potent workings of karma. Sign 1. They're desperately striving to project extreme happiness. Is there any burden heavier than the pretense of well-being when your inner world is in turmoil? Karma, however, is impervious to polished facades and meticulously crafted appearances. It operates directly upon the rawest human emotions, particularly in those unguarded moments when no one is watching. The first telltale whisper of karma's silent hand is when they begin to act as though they've never been better. Consider the person who ghosted you, who shattered your trust, who systematically dismantled your spirit, then casually walked away, leaving you to bear the weight of their projections. Suddenly, their online presence explodes with an almost blinding luminescence. Daily new photos emerge. They're laughing in places you never visited together, their smiles beaming alongside faces that were conspicuously absent during your shared journey. If you're not vigilant, you might find yourself ensnared in their curated reality, scrolling through their highlight reel and thinking, perhaps they truly are happier without me. Yet here's the unvarnished truth, one no filter can obscure. Genuine happiness requires no external validation. It simply is. Counterfeit happiness, however, screams for recognition. You've witnessed this theatrical performance before. After the initial fallout, a brief period of quietude descends, followed by an abrupt, almost violent surge of activity. Suddenly, their feed is inundated with photos, stories, inspirational quotes, gym selfies, a full-blown fake glow-up campaign. One moment, they were actively dismantling something authentic and precious. The next, they're hashtagging healing with a new partner as if guilt were an alien concept to their being. But lean in closer, observe with discerning eyes. The smile is too wide, almost strained. Their gaze is distant, adrift. The energy they project feels desperate, almost frantic. Why? Because true happiness is a gentle hum, a quiet contentment, but insecurity, my friend, always reverberates loudly. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus profoundly stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And the wise Marcus Aurelius, in his timeless wisdom, reminded us, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This is why a Stoic does not engage in petty arguments, does not clap back with witty retorts, and most certainly does not obsessively stalk another's social media for closure. Instead, they simply observe, because true peace isn't a performance, it just is. And the more vociferously someone attempts to prove they've moved on, the more likely it is they remain firmly anchored in the past. Karma requires no grand announcement. It manifests subtly, yet powerfully, each night when they lay their head upon the pillow and a chilling realization washes over them. The person they've become is the precise reason they forfeited a connection with someone who genuinely never wished them ill. No torrent of posts, no manufactured joy, no new partner can ever drown out the insistent clamor of a conscience that whispers, "I truly messed up something profound." So, let them smile for the camera. Let them craft their carefully curated narrative. You, in your quiet knowing, understand the truth. The most exhausting lie of all is the pretense of inner peace. Sign 2. Life begins to subtly reclaim what they held carelessly. Karma rarely descends like a sudden, violent bolt of lightning. More often, its work begins with a subtle erosion, a gradual, almost imperceptible withdrawal of things they once believed would remain eternally theirs. The second quiet indicator that someone is experiencing karma's gentle tug is when life itself begins to reclaim the very things they once held so carelessly in their grasp. Many mistakenly believe karma manifests in dramatic, cataclysmic events, a devastating car crash, a shattering heartbreak, an overt betrayal. But karma is far more nuanced, far more precise than mere theatrics. It doesn't scream, it doesn't throw tantrums, it simply begins to subtract. At first, the process is so subtle, so quiet, they barely notice. They lose small things, a friend who inexplicably ceases to respond, a trusted colleague who suddenly withdraws their confidence, an opportunity that inexplicably slips through their fingers without explanation. They might shrug it off, attributing it to mere bad luck, simple coincidence, or the unpredictable whims of life. But the pattern, once initiated, continues relentlessly until they find themselves standing amidst the quiet ruins of everything they once mocked, minimized, or callously disregarded. Perhaps they once dismissed you as too emotional, caring too much, or overreacting, when in truth, you were merely responding with an open heart. You tried. You stayed up late texting them through their breakdowns. You forgave them, even when they forgot your inherent worth. You believed in them when they themselves had lost all faith. And how were your genuine efforts repaid? They rolled their eyes. They joked that you were clingy, needy, too soft for this world. They perceived your unwavering presence as a given, not a precious gift. And so, quietly, you ceased offering. You ceased fighting for someone who consistently failed to show up for you. With a silent, dignified grace, you walked away. Initially, they likely felt liberated, untouched, utterly unbothered. But then the silence began to echo. Messages dwindled. Their once bustling social circle contracted, shrinking inward. The people they had placed their trust in began to reveal themselves as mirrors of their own selfish, dismissive, transactional nature. And suddenly, all the perceived options they once flaunted vanished into thin air. The unwavering support they once received without asking became conspicuously absent. The profound comfort of being deeply understood by someone who genuinely cared became an irreplaceable void. Because no one, especially not a new acquaintance still clinging to a facade of healing, can replicate the unique space you once held for them. Marcus Aurelius, in his profound meditations, penned the timeless wisdom, "Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be one." And what karma masterfully orchestrates is the stripping away of everything that does not align with the truth. When someone mistreats a truly good person, they are not merely betraying you, they are in essence betraying the version of themselves that had access to profound peace, unwavering patience, boundless forgiveness, and true depth of spirit. Karma doesn't punish them with overt suffering. Instead, it delivers a more profound, more intimate consequence. It meticulously reveals precisely what they chose to relinquish and then compels them to navigate life without it. Every room they enter feels subtly colder. Every new relationship feels inexplicably shallower. Every perceived victory feels hollow and empty, because deep within, they carry the undeniable knowledge that they once held something truly real, and they carelessly allowed it to slip through their fingers. Let them lose. Let them learn. Let them look around and recognize that nothing surrounding them now feels as safe, as sacred, or as genuinely resonant as what they once shared with you. Because karma doesn't merely take away material possessions or external connections. It subtly erodes the very version of themselves they were when they still basked in the warmth of your love. And no matter how desperately they attempt to recreate it, they will never again rediscover that same profound version of peace. Sign 3. You haunt their thoughts, even when they pretend you don't. When someone speaks in convoluted circles, yet you remain the unspoken center of every sentence, rest assured, karma is already whispering, persistently, in the quiet corners of their mind. The third undeniable sign that someone is silently receiving their karma is your persistent presence in their thoughts, even as they vehemently deny your existence. They will never utter your name directly, never acknowledge you publicly. But listen closely, observe the subtle cues. They frequently post vague, cryptic quotes on social media, veiled allusions to betrayal, to loyalty, to fake people, or to the arduous process of healing from the past. In casual conversations, they drop tantalizing hints, phrases like, "Some people will never grasp what they truly lost," or "Not everyone deserves my energy anymore." At first glance, you might dismiss these as generic observations, but you, dear friend, know better, because you know their language. You understand their unique language, their established patterns, the simmering cauldron of their guilt. You've been there, scrolling through your feed, and suddenly you see a post that feels like a bullet wrapped in poignant poetry. They didn't tag you, they didn't explicitly name you, but every single word screams your undeniable presence without ever uttering it aloud. It's as if they're desperate for your attention while simultaneously striving to appear utterly indifferent. This, my friend, is not power. This is not genuine healing. This is the raw, unadulterated cry of a conscience desperately attempting to breach the crumbling edifice of a shattered ego. Perhaps their friends remain blissfully unaware. Perhaps no one else in their orbit picks up on these subtle nuances, but you do, because you once loved them deeply enough to read their silences. And now, those very silences are echoing back at them. For karma doesn't always punish with dramatic events. Sometimes its most potent form of retribution is obsession itself. With thoughts they cannot control, with regrets they cannot swallow, with memories they believed would fade, but now cling to them relentlessly. A true Stoic does not seek revenge. A Stoic does not retaliate with their own subtle quotes or engaging in digital warfare, because to respond, to engage, is to validate, but to maintain silence. To remain unbothered is to reclaim one's inherent power. Epictetus wisely taught, if someone speaks ill of you, live in such a way that no one will believe it. So when they speak around you, behind you, or even about you, resist the urge to respond, to justify, to clarify. Let them carry your name in their silent burden, because the more they speak in convoluted circles, the more unequivocally it reveals the simple truth. You departed, but they, my friend, never truly did. Let them talk. Let them pepper their conversations with cryptic quotes, half-truths, and twisted narratives. Let them loudly proclaim their healing to mask the stark reality that they're not healing at all. You don't need to be physically present in their life to reside perpetually in their mind. That, my friend, is karma. And the mind, in its boundless capacity, is the loudest prison of all, especially when the very person you wronged refuses to even cast a backward glance. Stay silent, because silence, once again, speaks volumes. Sign 4. They lose trust in others and then in themselves. When you betray someone genuinely good, you don't merely lose them, you tragically forfeit the ability to trust anyone who reminds you of their inherent goodness. And most profoundly, you lose trust in yourself. The fourth powerful sign that someone is silently receiving their karma is the gradual erosion of their belief in other people. which in a chilling progression extends to a profound loss of belief in themselves. Initially, this might manifest as a facade of self-protection. They meticulously shrink their social circle, sealing themselves off from vulnerability. They become intensely selective with their energy, uttering phrases like, "I just don't trust people anymore." Everyone's fake these days. Yet, beneath this seemingly tough exterior lies not strength, not healthy boundaries, not genuine healing, but an insidious fear. It's the kind of chilling fear that flourishes in the lengthening shadow of unacknowledged guilt. You've witnessed this transformation firsthand. They used to be open, they used to laugh freely, trust easily, speak carelessly. But after what they did to you or to others, something shifted, not on the surface, but inside, quietly, slowly. Now they question everyone's intentions. They assume betrayal before trust. They scan every word, every action, every silence, looking for signs that someone might do to them what they once did to you. Why? Because deep down they know what they're capable of, and when you know the harm you once inflicted on someone who didn't deserve it, you start to believe that everyone else has the same potential for destruction. This is karma's most intimate punishment, self-suspicion. It isolates not by force, but by internal erosion. The voice that once said, "I'm in control," is now whispering, "Maybe I'm the problem." And that thought, that terrifying possibility, renders inner peace an impossible dream, no matter how profound the silence in the room. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, wisely observed, "He who does wrong rarely trusts anyone else because he knows what he is capable of." The Stoics possessed a profound understanding of this truth. They taught that your inner peace is directly linked to your conscience. If your actions betray your values, you won't just lose others, you'll lose yourself. That's what karma does. It doesn't always show up in consequences you can see. Sometimes it shows up as an invisible fracture in your inner world, a restlessness you can't explain, a tightness in your chest when things feel too good, a voice that says you don't deserve this. Even when you finally have something real, let them sit in that unsettling silence. Let them endlessly question everyone's motives. Let them fear the very shadow they once cast upon others, because karma doesn't merely haunt individuals with memories, it mercilessly robs them of peace with the insidious grip of paranoia. And the most terrible prison is not one behind bars. It's the one where your own conscience becomes the unyielding guard. So if they can no longer trust, don't feel pity. Don't try to fix them. Don't come back just to prove that not everyone is the same. That, my friend, is not your sacred duty. Your role was never to be the redeemer for someone who actively chose a path of destruction. You gave them truth. They gave you betrayal. Now karma is giving them exactly what they earned. Not chaos, not drama, but the quiet, agonizing collapse of self-trust. Karma does not yell, it simply, profoundly, introduces you to yourself. Sign 5. Life sends them a reflection of themselves. The fifth and most undeniable sign that someone is silently receiving their karma is when life, with its profound poetic justice, sends them someone precisely like them. This isn't merely a bad match or an incompatible partner, it is a meticulously crafted mirror, a walking, breathing reflection of everything they once inflicted upon someone who genuinely loved them. And this reflection, it doesn't appear loudly or dramatically. It arrives sweet, charming, undeniably attractive, precisely as they once were when they were masterfully winning your trust. Initially, it feels like destiny. They believe they've finally met their true match. The chemistry crackles, off the charts, the connection feels instantaneous, deeply profound, magnetically irresistible. What they fail to grasp, however, is that they aren't falling in love with something new. They are unknowingly stepping into a karmic loop, a loop meticulously designed to reveal not who they love, but precisely who they have been. And this time, they are emphatically not the one holding the reins of power. Recall how they once made you feel unsure, perpetually insufficient, no matter how much you poured into the connection. Now they find themselves relentlessly chasing texts that never arrive, waiting for calls that get ignored, posting things just to be seen and still getting silence. They once reveled in playing hot and cold with your emotions. Now they're dating someone who burns them with silence, then floods them with affection, then pulls away again and calls them too emotional. They used to turn your vulnerability into a joke. Now they open up and get mocked in return. They once had your loyalty and they walked away. Now they beg for commitment from someone who keeps one foot in and the other out. At first, they will rationalize it. They will tell themselves, this person just has issues. They're complicated. They're misunderstood. But slowly, insidiously, deep within their core, a horrifying thought starts to rise. This is what I did to someone. They don't say it out loud. They may never admit it. But the thought, once birthed, relentlessly haunts them in quiet moments. It shows up in the pause before they fall asleep, in the silence after yet another failed attempt to connect. Because the pain they're feeling now, it's not random, it's not just bad luck, it's pattern recognition, and it's karmic justice at its most poetic form. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury, but the universe, in its boundless wisdom, doesn't seek revenge. It seeks restoration, and it restores balance. Not by hurting someone back, but by giving them a lived experience of the pain they once caused through someone they can't control, can't fix, can't predict." This isn't about punishment. It's about perspective, because no lesson is remembered more deeply than the one that is felt. They used to laugh at how much you cared. Now they're crying over someone who couldn't care less. They used to belittle your needs. Now they're being called too much by someone who withholds affection. They used to walk away like they were untouchable. Now they're begging someone to stay, to respond, to try. And that someone simply shrugs, and that's when it hits them. Not all at once, but gradually, painfully unobliged. They're not just being hurt, they're being reflected, and the mirror doesn't lie. Let them meet their match. Let them feel the confusion, the powerlessness, the heartache of being seen, used, and dismissed, just like they once did to you. But this time, there's no one left to blame, no one to gaslight, no one to twist the narrative for, because the person on the other side of this pain isn't some monster. It's them in a different body with the same behavior. That's not revenge, that's return. Karma doesn't scream, doesn't attack, doesn't destroy. It reflects. So when they ask, why is this happening to me? The answer is simple. You're not being punished. You're being shown the power of your silence and evolution. You do not need to engage in battles with those who are already grappling with their own internal warfare. Karma requires no assistance from you. It doesn't demand your witty retorts, your desperate attempts to prove your side of the story, or to beg the world to see your worth. It only needs one thing from you: your profound silence, your unwavering composure, and your steadfast refusal to descend to their level. Because while they're still tangled in lies, pride, and manipulation, you've already stepped into something far more powerful: clarity. You see, karma isn't just about what happens to them. It's also about what happens to you. When you finally let go, you stop needing closure because peace becomes your closure. You stop needing justice because time becomes your witness. And you stop needing them to feel what they did to you because life already knows how to teach the lesson. Your job isn't to punish. Your job is to rise, to become so grounded, so stable, so inwardly strong that no one can shake your peace again, not even the ghost of the person who hurt you. That is the Stoic way. We don't curse our enemies. We don't chase validation. We simply walk forward quietly, powerfully, with a kind of discipline that karma deeply respects. So, if you're watching this and someone's hurt you, someone who never apologized, someone who pretended they did nothing wrong, someone who moved on like you didn't matter, let them. Because while they may look free, they are quietly haunted by the one thing they can't silence: the truth. And trust this, people who lie to others sleep fine, but people who lie to themselves, they don't sleep at all. If this message spoke to you, don't waste your energy chasing the past. Comment below with the one line that hit you hardest. Let others know they're not alone. And if you're walking this path of silence and inner strength, subscribe to the Chill Stoic. We don't just talk about healing. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. Not when your silence has already spoken the truth. Not when your stillness echoes louder than their noise. Let them post, let them smile, let them pretend. Because what they can't fake, not forever, is peace. And what they can't outrun is the version of themselves they became when they lost you. Karma doesn't need a sword. It only needs time and truth. And your truth? It's no longer entangled in their chaos. It's no longer begging to be understood by someone committed to misunderstanding it. You've moved beyond needing an apology, because peace is your apology to yourself. You've moved beyond needing justice, because growth became your greatest revenge. The Stoics taught us that the strongest soul is not the one who strikes back, but the one who can hold the flame of dignity while everything around them tries to blow it out. And you did just that. You didn't burn them. You didn't chase them. You didn't try to fix what someone was never ready to hold. Instead, you rose. Not loudly, not vengefully, but steadily. Rooted, grounded, untouchable. And now, while they rehearse conversations in their mind, while they rewrite stories to fit their guilt, while they search for in others what they once had with you, you've already evolved into someone they'll never recognize again. That isn't punishment, that's power. Because karma is not about their downfall. It's about your becoming. So if they ever ask, "Why is this happening to me?" the answer is simple. You're not being punished, you're being shown. And if they ever ask about you, where you went, why you never looked back, let the answer live in the silence you left behind. Because nothing says, "I've healed," louder than the quiet life of someone who chose peace over proving a point. You don't have to curse them. You don't have to compete. You don't even have to correct the record. You just have to become someone so aligned, so composed, so filled with inner clarity that they feel the loss every time they search for someone like you and find no one. That is the Stoic way. That is evolution. And the world watches in silence, because growth like that makes noise without a sound.